Hello, my name is Amanda Lopez Hernandez. I am an assistant teaching professor of forensic science at the University of Tampa, and today I'm going to be showing how to use Traxtone. So this is a practical that our students do in their crime scene investigation class. And so what I've prepared here is a shoe print from a sole of a shoe that I have that has some unique characteristics cut into it as a demonstration. So for example, these X's on the sole of the shoe, one of them will be cut out, so that is seen here, the absence of that. So today what we're going to do is do a casting with dental stone, which is Traxtone. The cool thing about Traxtone is that it actually has a color change indicator to tell you when the product is ready to use. It's mixed together and it becomes a light green color. So when you're doing your practical, you can use a bucket like this one, and you can put some sand or dirt in it. It will work with soil as well. I just think that the sand is more easily visible in the video, so that's why I went and picked up some sand. So you can use a container just like this one and lay down some sand, and then use any kind of shoe. Try to use one that has a good tread, and put a nice imprint down so you can use your Traxtone. So another thing that you can do if you don't have a bucket or a container like this one is you can lay it down on the ground and then make a frame with pieces of cardboard like this all the way around. So you can use edges of a box to make a bit of a frame with pieces of cardboard, so that would work as well. Another tip that you can use is once you have your imprint laid down or your shoe print laid down, sort of to fix it, you can put a little bit of hairspray down. So anything like this, just common drugstore hairspray. I have some in a bit of a bottle here. So I'm just going to lay it down and just spray a little bit, and that kind of sets it in place. Now when you want to mix your Traxtone, you're going to open it, and it's going to have a little bit of a heat seal here that you just tear open. Okay, so you can access it. And the instructions indicate to use about 9 ounces of water. I have about 12 ounces of water here because in my experience, it being a little bit more liquid helps pour. So you want sort of a very thin pancake mix texture to it. So as you see, it kind of has a green hue already to it, but it has some specks of blue there. So once I pour the water in, you're going to see that it's going to show more specks of blue. And once I knead it together for a long while, that will all homogenize and be one green color. So I'm gonna pour some of the water in here very carefully. And I'm not gonna pour all of it in at the same time. So I poured in about 6 ounces, so about half of it. And I'm just going to knead at the liquid and the powder inside. I'm just going to squeeze it to start mixing it. So I've left my bag a little open so I can manipulate it and I don't have a bubble of air in there. So I'm gonna start kneading it just to kind of work it in. This can take some time, so just take your time mixing the chemical together. And I'm gonna need a bit more water, so I'm gonna open it up and pour more water in. So I've left about maybe an ounce. So I've got about 11 ounces in here already. You're gonna want to really knead at the corners because the water doesn't get to the corners as easily. And so you're going to see that the colors are gonna pop out, those blues and greens. And so you're just gonna keep kneading until it's all one homogeneous color. Okay, so now that it seems all pretty kneaded through and I don't feel any more clumps, I'm seeing more of that homogeneous mint green color. That was a little bit more blue there. So once I'm seeing more of that green color, I'm gonna put my water away. I don't need any more of that. And so all I have to do is drip it over my my shoe print here. However, I don't want to immediately put the ingredient in. This is gonna start hardening soon, but I want to be very careful with the flow of it because I don't want the weight of the cast to damage any imprint on my shoe tread right here. So I've already added the hairspray, which is very helpful. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this little palette and I'm going to drip the casting material over it very close so that it hits this first, so that it's the weight of it is not impacting it directly into the shoe print. So that way it'll slow down the velocity at which this is falling into the crevices of the shoe print. So it's less likely to damage it, okay? And then I'm just going to very slowly let it pour onto my shoe print. I'm going to go slowly so that I can maneuver the flow. And I'm going to try to fill all the crevices, directing them with my palette rather than directly from the bag. I'm gonna try to cover the whole shoe print. Okay, so I want to make sure I cover the whole shoe print, and also in the space in between the toe and the heel, I still want to make sure that I cover that so I have one piece. So I don't have two pieces, I have one whole shoe print. And I also want to make sure that I make it thick enough so that it will create one solid piece and it's not going to break on me, okay? So that seems pretty good. So now I'm just going to fill out some edges to make sure that I have the entire edge. So I think that looks good. Maybe a little bit more at the toe here because I can kind of see the pattern peeking through. And I want to make sure that I'm using this palette because it definitely helps slow down the velocity of the material falling onto the shoe print itself, okay? Now once that's done, you just have to let it dry. And so now we're just going to wait until it hardens. And once it's done, we can lift it and we can clean the other side of it and we'll see the shoe print. Okay, so it's been about 30 minutes that it's been drying. So once you pour this in, this is an exothermic reaction, so it's going to actually start warming up. So it's going to feel warm to the touch. Now that it's been drying for a while, this is actually a piece of it that was in there, and you can see how it's dried already. And you can hear it, it's pretty solid. But whenever I put my hand to it, I still feel a little bit of a warmth. So I'm not gonna take it out quite yet. I'm gonna let it dry for a little longer. And because I did quite a thick layer, especially on this side, I want to make sure that the interior of it is also fully dry. So I'm just going to let it rest for a little longer. So what I've done is that I put a towel over it because I am outside and I don't want any other little twigs or anything to fall into the material. So I'm just covering it a little bit with this towel while I leave it alone. So I'm going to let it dry for a little bit longer and check back on it in a little bit. Okay. So this is fully dry now, and it's not warm to the touch anymore. So we're going to take it out of the sand and see how it turned out. So firstly, I'm just going to pull it up and grab it and pull it up. So I'm just going to pour some water over it to get rid of some of the sand. And that seems to be working the best, so we're going to stick with that. And there you go. You're going to see that you have the impression of the shoe that we put in the sand, the shoe tread. So we're going to see already some characteristics that we saw on our sole. So we saw the missing part of this X right here, missing part of the tread right here as well. So you're going to see that this gives a really good representation of the imprint that we put in the sand. So that's the culmination of this practical. So for the students in the crime scene investigation class, all you need to do is let it air dry and put it in your box, and you can bring it into class for credit.